Welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at personal effectiveness.
Oh, yeah.
And to help us with this, we're going to be looking at Stephen Covey's work.
Okay.
And specifically his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Right.
But we're really going to be focusing in on this idea of paradigms and how they impact our lives.
Yeah. Paradigms are so fundamental to how we operate in the world.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting...
I don't even realize it most of the time.
...is that he doesn't just give us like a list of tips or tricks.
Right.
It's really like a fundamental look at how we see the world.
Exactly. It's a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's a whole different way of approaching life.
Yeah. And so let's break down this whole paradigm thing.
Okay.
I really like how he uses the analogy of a map.
Yeah, that's a good one.
To kind of get this point across.
Yeah.
He describes paradigms as mental maps.
Right.
That we use to navigate the world.
Mental models, yeah.
Yeah, so they shape how we understand everything. Our relationships, our potential.
Yeah, it's how we make sense of everything.
Yeah.
Our experiences, the world around us,
yeah.
It all gets filtered through these paradigms.
Yeah, and so just like if you have the wrong map,
right,
you're going to end up in the wrong place.
Exactly.
Even if you have like all the best intentions.
You can be the most positive person, the most determined person.
Yeah.
But if you're using the wrong map,
you're
not going to get where you want to go.
You're going to get lost.
You're going to end up lost and frustrated.
Yeah. And he uses that really good example of trying to find an address in Chicago. You're using a map of Detroit.
Right.
You're never going to find it.
No matter how hard you try.
No.
You're going to end up in the wrong city.
Yeah. And so I think the real challenge here is that we're often not even aware.
Exactly. We're often unconscious of the paradigms that are driving our behavior.
Yeah. They feel so normal to us.
Right. They feel like just the way things are. We don't even question them.
Yeah. Have you ever had an experience
all the time.
where you realize later
that
you were looking at something with a totally inaccurate paradigm?
Absolutely. I think one of the areas where this really plays out is how we view success.
Oh, interesting.
Some people might have a paradigm that equates success with material wealth or status, while others might define success as having strong relationships or making a positive contribution to the world. Yeah. And these different paradigms are going to influence their choices, their priorities, their overall sense of fulfillment.
Yeah, it's not just about what we achieve externally.
Right.
It's how we define it for ourselves.
Exactly. And it's not to say that one paradigm is inherently better than another. I think the key is to become aware of our own paradigms and to assess whether they are truly serving us, helping us move towards the kind of life that we want to create.
And the good thing is that Covey doesn't just leave us with these paradigms that may be flawed.
Exactly.
He introduces this idea of a paradigm shift.
Paradigm shift.
Which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, those aha moments where we suddenly see things in a new way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we break free from those old ways of thinking.
Yeah, and these shifts can be so powerful because they often lead to profound changes in our behavior and ultimately our results.
Have you ever had a paradigm shift?
Oh, yeah, many times.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the most compelling examples of a paradigm shift comes from a story that Covey shares in his book.
Oh, yeah?
About an encounter that he had on a subway in New York City.
Oh, you mean this story with the man and his children?
Yeah, you remember that one?
Yeah, I remember that one.
It's a great example.
It really stuck with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It highlights how easily we can misjudge a situation when we're operating from a limited paradigm.
Yeah.
So in the story, Covey describes observing a man whose children are being extremely disruptive on the subway. And his initial reaction is judgment and annoyance.
Yeah.
He sees this man as a neglectful parent.
Yeah. You can imagine a lot of people would have that reaction.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's easy to jump to conclusions when we only have a limited view of what's going on.
Exactly.
But then something happens that completely changes Covey's perspective.
Right.
The man explains that they've just come from the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Where his wife, the children's mother, has recently passed away.
Oh, gosh.
And it's in that moment that everything clicks into place for Covey.
Yeah.
He realizes that he's been operating from a completely inaccurate paradigm. He wasn't seeing the full picture.
He was missing that context.
Yeah, the underlying context that explains the man's behavior.
Wow. Yeah.
And this realization triggers a profound shift in his thinking. His judgment instantly transforms into compassion and empathy for the man and his grieving children.
Such a powerful story.
Yeah, it's a reminder that our initial perceptions are often based on incomplete information. And those limited perceptions can significantly impact how we interact with the world and the people around us.
It really shows how powerful those perceptions can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think
it also demonstrates that paradigm shifts aren't always about controlling our behavior or attitude. Sometimes it's about fundamentally changing the way we see a situation, which then naturally leads to changes in our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So what can we take away from this in a practical sense?
Yeah.
If we're not even aware of our paradigms, how can we possibly change them?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's the crucial question, right? Like, if we're not even aware of these things, how can we actually change them?
Yeah.
And Covey argues that true change, the kind that leads to lasting effectiveness, it requires us to move beyond just trying to change our behaviors.
Okay.
We need to address the underlying paradigms.
So it's not just about like the what we do.
Right.
It's like the why.
It's the underlying beliefs, the assumptions that are driving our actions.
Yeah, like trying to treat the symptoms, Zach, but not the root cause.
Yeah, it's like treating the symptoms of a disease without addressing the root cause.
Yeah, and he uses...
Or you could think of it like a garden.
Okay.
Imagine you have this beautiful garden, but it's constantly being overrun by weeds.
Okay.
You could spend all your time pulling weeds, but they'll just keep coming back if the soil itself is unhealthy.
I like that visual a lot.
Yeah. So in this analogy, our paradigms are like the soil.
Okay.
And our behaviors are the plants. If we want to cultivate healthy growth, we have to tend to the soil itself.
So how do we figure out what our paradigms even are?
Right. That's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they're often hidden.
Yeah, it feels like trying to catch a shadow.
Yeah. It's not always easy.
Yeah.
But there are some clues.
Okay.
One of the biggest indicators that a paradigm might need adjusting is when we find ourselves repeatedly running into the same problems or experiencing the same frustrations.
Even though we're trying.
Yeah. Despite our best efforts to change, we keep hitting that same wall.
It's like that definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again.
Exactly.
Expecting a different result.
It's a sign that the issue might not be with our actions, but with the underlying beliefs that are shaping those actions.
So, okay, we're stuck in this cycle.
Yeah.
How do we actually start to shift this paradigm?
Well, Covey emphasizes the importance of what he calls the principle of effectiveness, which states that there are natural laws or principles
that govern human behavior and effectiveness, just as there are laws that govern the physical world.
So it's not just about willpower.
It's not just about trying harder.
Yeah.
It's about aligning ourselves with these fundamental principles.
Yeah. Okay, so what are some of these principles?
Well, one of the key principles that he highlights is the importance of proactivity.
Okay.
He argues that highly effective people are proactive rather than reactive.
Okay.
They focus on what they can control, their circle of influence.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Rather than what they can't, their circle of concern.
Can you break those down a little bit?
Sure. So the circle of concern encompasses all the things that worry us.
Okay.
The situations or circumstances that we have little or no control over.
So like stuff that stresses us out.
Yeah. Things like the weather, politics, other people's actions.
Yeah. All that stuff that we can't control.
Exactly. And then within that circle of concern, there's a smaller circle
called the circle of influence.
Okay.
And this circle represents the things we can directly control.
Okay.
Like our own thoughts, actions, and attitudes.
So the things that we actually have power over.
Exactly. And Covey argues that proactive people focus their energy and attention on their circle of influence.
Okay.
They don't waste time worrying about things they can't control.
Okay.
Instead, they concentrate on making positive changes within their own sphere of influence.
So it's about shifting our focus from reactive to proactive.
Exactly.
Taking ownership of what we can control.
Yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting. When we start focusing on our circle of influence, something amazing happens.
What's that?
Our circle of influence actually begins to expand.
Really? How does that happen?
As we become more proactive, as we start taking more responsibility for our own lives, making positive changes, we naturally gain more influence.
Okay.
People start to respect us more. trust us more, and we become more effective in bringing about positive outcomes.
So it's almost like this positive feedback loop.
Exactly.
The more proactive we are, the more influence we gain.
The more influence we gain, the more we can positively impact our lives and the world around us.
That's a really cool idea.
And this shift from reactivity to proactivity can have a profound impact on our paradigms. It helps us move away from a victim mentality where we feel helpless and at the mercy of external circumstances to a creator mentality where we recognize our own power to shape our reality.
So it's about taking ownership and responsibility.
Exactly.
Rather than just feeling like we're reacting to whatever life throws at us.
Right. And it's important to note that this isn't about denying or suppressing our emotions. It's about choosing how we respond to those emotions and choosing to focus our energy on what we can control.
So it's more about managing our reactions than letting our reactions manage us.
Precisely. And that's a key aspect of developing emotional intelligence and personal effectiveness.
Now, Covey also talks about this other principle of beginning with the end in mind.
Begin with the end in mind.
What does that even mean?
Well, it's about having a clear vision of what we want to achieve and making choices that are aligned with that vision.
So it's like having a destination in mind.
Exactly.
Before we start the journey.
Otherwise, we're just wandering aimlessly. And this principle applies to all areas of our lives. From our personal goals to our professional ambitions to our relationships.
So how do we go about defining this end in mind?
Well, it's about more than just goals and plans. It's about identifying our core values, our deepest aspirations, and using those as guiding principles for our lives. Covey suggests creating a personal mission statement
that outlines our values, our purpose, and the kind of person we want to become.
I like a personal mission statement.
Yeah, it's like having a compass that helps us stay on course.
Even when things get crazy.
Exactly. Even when life gets chaotic. And it's not something that's set in stone. It can evolve over time as we learn and grow. The key is to have a clear sense of direction. And to make choices that are consistent with that direction.
So we've talked about proactivity.
We've
talked about beginning with the end in mind. Are there any other key principles that can help us shift these paradigms and become more effective?
Oh, there are so many great insights in his work.
I know it's hard to pick just one.
It's hard to pick just one.
But
I think the principle of synergy is particularly powerful, especially when it comes to paradigm shifts.
Synergy. I feel that word gets thrown around a lot.
It does.
So what does it actually mean? Well, Covey describes synergy as the principle that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's about recognizing that when people work together effectively, they can create something much bigger and better than they could achieve individually.
So it's not just about cooperation.
It's not just about teamwork.
It's about creating something new.
It's about creating something truly innovative and transformative through collaboration.
And that makes me think about how our own paradigms can sometimes limit our ability to even see the value in other people's ideas.
That's a great point. If we're stuck in a rigid paradigm, we might dismiss ideas that don't fit within our existing framework. But when we embrace the principle of synergy, we open ourselves up to a whole new world of possibilities.
It's like that saying, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten.
Exactly.
If we want something different.
If we want to break through and achieve something extraordinary.
We need to be willing to step outside of our comfort zones. And embrace new ways of thinking.
And so that's where that synergy comes in.
Exactly.
Bringing together different perspectives and experiences.
When we bring together different perspectives, different experiences, different talents, we create the potential for something truly groundbreaking.
It's almost like when you're brainstorming.
Yeah.
You throw out all these ideas.
Even the crazy ones.
And then somehow something brilliant emerges.
Such a great analogy.
Yeah.
And Covey emphasizes that synergy is not just about coming up with great ideas.
Okay.
It's about creating a culture of respect, openness, and trust.
Okay.
Where everyone feels safe to contribute.
So that makes me think about communication.
Yeah.
It's not just about waiting for your turn to speak.
Right.
It's about really listening.
It's about listening to understand.
Yeah.
Rather than listening to respond.
Yeah.
It's about being curious about other people's viewpoints.
Yeah. Even if we don't agree, even if we don't initially agree with them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Effective communication is essential for creating synergy.
Yeah.
It's about being willing to challenge our own assumptions, to be open to feedback, and to seek out win-win solutions that benefit everyone involved.
And thinking about synergy and collaboration, I'm realizing that these paradigm shifts, they don't just happen on our own.
They don't happen in isolation.
Yeah, we're influenced by the people around us.
Right. Our families, our friends, our colleagues, they can either reinforce our existing paradigms or challenge them.
Or if we're surrounded by people who think in similar ways.
Yeah, if we're always in that same echo chamber.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to break free.
It can be difficult to break free from those patterns.
Right. So we need to be intentional. About who we surround ourselves with.
Absolutely.
People that challenge us.
People who inspire us to grow and expand our thinking. People who challenge us to see the world from different angles.
So being open to learning from anyone.
Exactly.
Recognizing that everyone has something to offer.
Everyone has something valuable to teach us. Even if their perspective is different from our own.
Well, this has been a really fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Into this whole world of paradigms.
It's such a powerful concept.
Yeah, and it really feels like Covey's given us a roadmap, not only for achieving our goals, but also for just like becoming better people.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
His work is a powerful reminder that we have the power to choose our paradigms, to shape our reality, and to create a life that is aligned with our deepest values and aspirations.
So to our listeners out there, we encourage you to take some time to reflect. What are your paradigms?
What are those beliefs, those assumptions, the mental maps that are shaping your experiences?
Are they serving you?
Are they leading you towards the life you truly desire?
And remember, you have the power to change them.
You have the power to embrace new perspectives, to challenge limiting beliefs, and to create a reality that is more aligned with your unique gifts and potential.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, this is great.
Into the transformative power of paradigms and paradigm shifts.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring. Keep questioning.
Keep growing.
And keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.